In this video, we are going to have the basic idea over it. That means what exactly RNA isolation is and why it is important, and what is the main method that is commonly used for the extraction of the RNA and all. So, coming to the first point, what is RNA isolation? So basically, RNA isolation is the method of isolation or purification of RNA from the biological sample. Take for example plant or an animal, anything, any biological sample that is actually treated with some solvents or maybe other kind of methods can be employed for the isolation of the RNA from rest of the biomolecules, leaving DNAs, proteins, lipids all behind. If you can able to purify the RNA, that is going to be our RNA isolation or RNA extraction. So basically, why we need to isolate the RNA? So in order to perform some molecular biology and genetic engineering experiments, in order to understand the gene expression, we need to go for RNA isolation. So RNA is the mediator between DNA and protein. It takes the information from the DNA to the protein. So in order to understand such genetic expression of any kind of sample, you need to go for RNA isolation. So here there are many applications. There are many molecular biology and genetic engineering experiments which deals with the RNA. So in order to perform all those, we need to have RNA, pure form of RNA in our hands. So some of the handful applications are if you want to study gene expression using microarrays, so for microarray technology, to understand the gene expression, you need to go for RNA isolation first. So before proceeding these kind of experiments, you need to have RNA in your hand. And if you want to perform RT-PCR, so in order to perform RT-PCR, you need to have RNA in your hand. So this RT, reverse transcriptase enzyme, will convert this RNA into the form of the complementary DNA, so that by this PCR it can be amplified, and that is how the RT-PCR will be performed. So for that we need to have first RNA in its pure form, and for cDNA library preparation, you need to have RNA in your hand. That means if you want to study the coding portion of the genome, you need to go for cDNA library. And by cDNA library, generally this RNA will be copied into cDNA, and later the cDNA will be cloned and stored in the form of library, and that is what the cDNA library is. So for that, RNA is mandatory. And also, if you want to perform neutron blotting for identification of some genes or maybe some target portion from the DNA from RNA, first you need to have your RNA in its pure form. So for similar purposes, we generally isolate RNA in the laboratory. So here basically generally RNA will be isolated in the form of total RNA. So what is total RNA? Basically, this total RNA is the combination of rRNA, tRNA and mRNA. So it's combination of all these three. So at the time of experiment, if you could able to isolate the total RNA, so that is what the RNA isolation is. Here the percentage may vary. rRNA is in high proportion, that may be ranges from 85 percentage, and tRNA waits for 10 to 15 percentage, and mRNA accounts for 1 or 2 percentage of the total RNA. So this is what the most possible combination of the total RNA. So here generally there are different methods that can be employed for the RNA isolation. Most popular methods are column filtration and organic extraction. So coming to the column filtration, using this method, the RNA will be filtered out, eluted out by the end of this procedure. That means generally these glass filters will be used to attract the RNA. So the RNA will go and bind with the filter, and all remaining biomolecules will be first eluted out, and after RNA got separated from rest of the sample, RNA will also be extracted or eluted out in the purest form. Basically, the advantage with this column filtration method is it is basically a affinity method. So here the purity of the RNA is very high. We can obtain very highly purified RNA, but the disadvantage with this column filtration method is that basically the quantity of RNA, the recovered RNA will be very much less. So it is not as scalable as the other method. If you want to compare the organic extraction method, so here the organic extraction method hence widely used, and it is also considered as gold standard method for the RNA extraction. Here by employing this different organic solvents, we are going to separate the RNA. It is a bit similar to the DNA extraction method, but it varies in many aspects from the DNA isolation method. Basically, this organic extraction method, the advantage of this organic extraction method is generally we obtain high quantity of the RNA. It is, and the basic disadvantage with this organic extraction method is the hazardous chemicals we are going to use in this method. So generally we are going to use guanidinium thiocyanate, phenol, chloroform. All these are hazardous chemicals. So that is the major disadvantage with this organic extraction method. But using this organic extraction method, we can have RNA in its pure form, and also the quantity of the RNA will be very much high. So large scale RNA extractions will be generally carried by using this organic extraction method. So what is the difference? Why we cannot adopt the DNA extraction method for the separation of RNA as well? So basically DNA is different in its structural and other features, and RNA is also different from the DNA. So basically DNA is a double-stranded molecule, whereas RNA is single-stranded molecule, and DNA is highly stable but RNA is unstable. So based on these factors, we need to go for modified method for the RNA extraction. The methods that are used for the DNA extraction cannot be as it is adopted as it is for the separation of the RNA, because RNA is much unstable and it is single stranded molecule. And also one of the other reason for which RNA isolation is much difficult than DNA isolation is the presence of RNases. Basically, these RNAs, as name indicates, RNAs are the enzymes for degrading the RNA. So based on the property of ubiquitous presence of these RNAs, RNA extraction is much difficult. Here, basically, these RNAs are present in all over the cellular environment. Say for example, cytoplasm is rich in RNAs, and even the extracellular environment is also rich in RNAs, because these RNAs plays major role in the defense mechanism. They fight against the pathogens that are entering into the cell or something like that. So due to that reason, RNAs are very much high, widely spread all over the cell environment as well as extracellular environment. Even in our surfaces, skin, on the skin also there is a presence of RNAs, and because of this, all our laboratory environment, we can say, simply contaminated with the RNA. So for the RNA isolation, we need to go for very very highly sensitive methods, like you need to use RNAs free water always, and the equipment should be very free from the RNAs. You need to you need to be sure about it to avoid this RNAs all over the atmosphere where you are performing this experiment. So here so for that, the RNA isolation is a bit difficult than the DNA isolation. You need to use some harsh chemicals to clean all this equipment. So these are the reasons why DNA isolation is different and RNA isolation is different. Coming to the main method of organic extraction. So basically, organic extraction method deals with the using of organic solvents like acidified. So the main reagent in this is acidified guanidinium thiocyanate, chloroform, phenol. So these are the major components of this reagent. So we can say it is AgCp solution, and this is also, we can also call it as tri reagent. So basically this tri reagent is nothing but TRI stands for total RNA isolation reagent. So what are the ingredients present in this tri reagent, and what are the different steps involved in this organic extraction method using this tri reagent? So we are going to understand this. For that, we'll be starting with a sample in our hand. So take a biological sample. Let it be a bacterial sample, or maybe plant, or maybe an animal tissue. So generally 0.5 to 1 mg of sample is enough for the RNA isolation. Generally it can be taken for, and to this we are going to add tri reagent. Before this, you can also treat this tissue with the liquid nitrogen. Generally this liquid nitrogen allow the it is basically a harsh treatment to avoid all these biomolecules. So basically you can also use that. Otherwise you can directly use this try reagent. So basically the try reagent is composed of 10 ml of 4 molar guanidinium thiocyanate. So the main ingredient is 10 ml of 4 molar guanidinium thiocyanate and ml of 0.75 molar sodium citrate and 0.5 to 8 molar mu-L of 10% sarcosyl. Sarcosyl solution and 76 ml of beta mercaptoethanol and followed by we are going to add 1 ml of 2 molar sodium acetate and 10 ml of water saturated phenol. So basically these are the main ingredients present in the try reagent. We are going to use guanidinium thiocyanate, we are going to use sodium citrate and sarcosyl solution mercaptoethanol, sodium acetate followed by phenol. Basically the pH of this solution is nearly 4.7 due to the sodium acetate which is at pH of 4. So because of this acidic pH, DNases will also be degraded in this step. So basically the pH is main difference between the DNA extraction solvents and RNA extraction solvents in the organic extraction method. So basically for DNA extraction methods we generally follow neutral pH, but here for the RNA extraction we are going to use this low pH, that is 4.7 pH. So the pH is such low because of the presence of sodium acetate. So and also we are going to use guanidinium thiocyanate. Here the use of chiotropic salts here is to degrade the proteins. Actually these chiotropic salts will deal with the hydrophobic interactions like hydrogen bonds and all. So because of this because they treat the hydrogen bonds, it is easy to degrade the proteins. So here guanidinium thiocyanate acts as a lysate, and here the sodium citrate is a salt that can protect the nucleic acids from these harsh treatments. And here is the sarcosyl solution. Sarcosyl solution is generally basically it is a detergent, so it deals with the lipids present in the membranes. That means the membranes will be disrupted by sarcosyl solution in the RNA extraction. And here we also use this beta mercaptoethanol. As we all know, beta mercaptoethanol has the property of treating the proteins which are in higher configurations, like the sulfur bonds will be broken down, disulfide bridges will be broken down between the different domains of the proteins using this beta mercaptoethanol. And followed by this sodium acetate is to maintain the pH, and also the phenol. As we all know, phenol is to treat the proteins. So these are the main ingredients of the dry reagent. So you can simply make stock of this solution, and whenever you want you can take 1 ml or 2 ml from the stock, and the remaining solution can be stored at 4 degrees. Whenever you want you can take from that. So that is what the dry reagent is. So once after the tissue is treated with dry reagent and rest for a 1 minute or 2 minutes, and to it you are going to add chloroform. So chloroform can be added. So basically this addition or treatment with dry reagent is generally called as homogenization phase. So the tissue will be homogenized under this process. Here we are going to add chloroform to it, to the solution, and vortex for a while, like few seconds you need to vortex, then incubate for 1 to 2 minutes, let us centrifuge, and basically once after centrifugation you are going to have your phase separation. So here this is the phase separation process. So under this phase separation stage you are going to have 3 layers, and in the top layer the aqueous solution will be there, and this is DNA, and this is organic layer, organic phase, which is full of proteins and all. Here you can have the cell debris right at the bottom. So here due to the high density and viscous nature of the chloroform, basically chloroform is an organic solvent, and it is very highly viscous and dense. So because of this the phase separation is possible. So aqueous phase will be separated and organic phase will be coming down. So here in the previous step, as DNAs, proteins and lipids are already treated, so the aqueous phase only contains the RNA. So during the phase separation, RNA will come into the aqueous phase, and this aqueous phase will be taken into the fresh reaction tube. So to the fresh reaction tube, which is having this aqueous phase, we are going to add isopropanol. So basically treating with isopropanol is important for the separation of the nucleic acid from the aqueous solution. It decreases the solubility of the nucleic acids. So at very low concentrations we cannot directly use ethanol wash. Instead we need to go for isopropanol treatment first. It helps the ethanol to precipitate nucleic acid much faster than the only ethanol. So it helps the ethanol to precipitate the nucleic acid because it is having the property of concentrating nucleic acids or precipitating nucleic acid or decreasing the solubility of nucleic acids at when they are in very low concentration. So if the nucleic acids are at low concentration in the solution, first you need to go for isopropanol. Generally we use isopropanol. So during this isopropanol treatment you are going to have the nucleic acids are or decreasing the solubility of nucleic acids so that they can be precipitated by using ethanol. So last one is the ethanol wash. This is the step of purification. So under this purification stage of the nucleic acid extraction, we are going to add this isopropanol so that the salts and the nucleic acids will be dissolved, will be precipitated. So by using ethanol, we can purify and quantify the nucleic acid. So here the ethanol must be in the same quantity same quantity as the reagent that is used. That means some 1 ml of the ethanol will be added to the solution, and the thread-like nucleic acids, thread-like structures will be appeared in the solution and you can centrifuge and separate the precipitate of the nucleic acids from the rest of the solution. So here this precipitate is air dried and dissolved in the RNase free water. Okay, so this can be stored as a solution of nucleic acids for the further experimental purposes. So here after washing with ethanol, so 1 ml of ethanol will be added that will precipitate all the nucleic acid present in the solution, and small thread-like structures will you can observe. By centrifugation you can have your precipitate ready, and this precipitate is air dried, and air dried precipitate will be stored in the RNase free water. So this is the step of storing. So basically this is the whole idea of the organic extraction method. So what if you have the contamination? How do you learn that your sample got contaminated? Your extracted RNA is having some of the contaminations, whether it may be a salt contamination, solvent contamination, or maybe other nucleic acids, contamination with the other nucleic acids. So what we are going to do? Generally the quality control of the RNA will be carried using spectrophotometric readings at the ratio of 260 to 280. So the ratio of 260 to 280 nanometers readings will decide whether the RNA is pure or not. So it should be between 1.8 to 2. So if the value of 260 and 280 nanometers spec reading is between 1.8 to 2, that indicates the RNA is pure, extracted RNA is pure. But what if it is less than 1.8? Less than 1.8 or more than 2. So if the value obtained is less than 1.8, it indicates that it is contaminated with proteins, and if the value is higher than 2, it is contaminated with solvents. And that is how we'll decide the purity of the extracted RNA. And also, how do we purify the RNA if it is contaminated? So here we are going to use DNases. So DNases are the enzymes which degrade the DNA. We can simply use DNases, or else we can also perform acidified phenol and chloroform. So using these two solvents, we are going to have one extra phase separation step. That means to the nucleic acid that got separated, we are going to use this acidified phenol and chloroform. Again, the phase separation will be takes place. So 3 phases of the solution will be obtained: aqueous phase, middle layer, and the bottom organic layer. The aqueous phase should be pipetted out into the fresh reaction tube, and that will be again washed with ethanol and centrifuged to get precipitate. That precipitate need to be dissolved in RNA's free water, so that we can again store it as a pure form. So that is what the RNA isolation method is.